Aren't you glad the election's over and you can see somebody other than politicians on the show? Anyway, this year was a lot better. We had a lot of judicial candidates, and I think it was a much better breed of people than your average run-of-the-mill politicians. I know I had to use like 3/4 less Q-tips than usual. I want to thank all the judicial people for appearing and participating in Jewish Chicago. Thank you so much. It was really an education for me, and I appreciated it. But back to the real world. One of the persons who's become a regular guest over the years, and sometimes there's just people I plain like that I think are good on the show, and I like to see them on the air. And one of them is the chaplain of the Midwest Palliative, and I promised myself I was going to look at this, and I don't even have my glasses on, Hospice and Healthcare Center, and that is Rabbi Pinchas Eisenbach.
Thank you.
And hi to Kristen, and hi to, what else? Who else?
Heidi.
And Heidi, and I'm leaving out Rhonda.
Rhonda.
Okay.
And Jamie O'Malley.
So anyway, tell us. Brief introduction. Many people have seen you before.
Yes.
So, introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Rabbi Eisenbach. I'm a chaplain rabbi for the Midwest and Palliative Care Center in Glenview.
Yeah.
And I do counseling and try to listen to many people,
Yeah. So basically, and you handle people at end-of-life situations, basically. Yes. So, and it's not just a Jewish thing.
It's everyone, regardless of the religion. If they're Jewish, they're Catholic, Irish, it doesn't matter, Lutheran, you name it.
And you've been quite experienced at this point in
Why
time.
not? We help each other.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, many people don't know, but people actually call from all over the world to consult him with Jewish ethical and moral and legal issues, in these sort of delicate situations.
Correct.
So he's become very much a world-renowned expert. So, you got any good stories for us today?
Oh, yes. I have two beautiful stories.
Go.
One story I got was that a person called me. He said it's going to come the holiday of Passover, and they have a friend of them, very religious, and he cannot go to the synagogue. And he's on catheters and in a wheelchair, and he feels bad about it. What should they tell him? Because they would like to take him, but it's more trouble taking him than it's worth it. So I told him that if it's okay with God, it should be okay with you. So I said, if this is the case, I'll just make a few prayers. I said, it's okay, you don't have to make all the prayers. So he loved it.
Yeah.
That was one case. Then I had another case where, in order to understand that sometimes as rabbis and chaplains, we don't read in between the lines, because, the difference between our rabbis and different rabbis is we try to listen. We don't make judgment in order to help him and to be on the same page.
Yeah.
There was a story told one time because in 2 weeks in 2.5 weeks, we're going to have Passover.
Well, actually, by the time this is on the air, we'll be in the middle or near the end of Passover.
Right. But the idea is that I heard a beautiful story that I would like to share. It's apropos today. There was one time a lady came to a rabbi right an hour and a half before Passover. She came filthy, and the wife of the rabbi says, the rabbi is busy. The rabbi looked at her, he says, it's okay. He told the children, go in the kitchen, finish everything. And he told his wife, come in, sit down and listen. She's crying, Rabbi, I have a good question for you. I don't know what to do. He says, what's your question? So she says, well, on Passover we use 4 cups of wine for the Seder. And can I use milk instead of wine?
I never heard that one before. I've heard grape juice. I've heard maybe
orange juice,
gin and tonic. I don't know. Well, it's not kosher for Passover.
So the wife tells to the rabbi, tell him yes or no. The rabbi said, you don't understand. She says, Mrs. Sarah, I hear what you say. I'll tell you what, I know I'm busy. I and my wife will come to your house and we're going to check and let's see what's going on. She started to cry. You really don't have to. He says, don't worry, I will help you.
Yeah.
So his wife says, are you sure? I said, come and then we'll talk later.
Yeah.
So this rabbi went and his wife tells him, you didn't do enough. We have to get someone to clean the house. They don't have clothing. It's filthy. They don't have food. No wonder she asked milk, because she's devastated. So you have to read sometime with line. When someone tells you something, there's something else. Especially when someone is sick, they'll tell you I have a story. They're going to ask you, but as a rabbi, And as a chaplain, we have to always look in between. What is this person really asking?
Yeah. I was wondering about that because milk, I like milk, but not that much.
Right, but milk used to be, it was easier to get, and it was cheap,
Yeah.
It's not like nowadays, which is more expensive.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know what? Now that you mention it, milk might be, especially if you're buying Chalav Yisrael,
Right.
Yeah. So I'm paying $5.50 a gallon, and frankly, the Manischewitz 10W30 weight I buy isn't all that expensive.
Right. So the funny part was that the rabbi came late to the synagogue, and they said, "You're not dressed for Yom Tov. What's going on?" And you're so happy. He says, I know I came late. God will forgive me. I can pray later. It's okay. But I think I have to give a lecture that everyone who sees that something going on with someone, there's a problem, to let them know.
Yeah.
He says there was a problem with the family. He doesn't want to embarrass. Not only they didn't have food, they didn't have clothing. It was filthy, and the lady was devastated. And thank God I got the last minute food for her, and I got clothing for the children. They didn't have stocks, they didn't have shoes. Now I can go pray with my whole heart to God.
Yeah.
And that's very important. The reason I'm saying that we have all kinds of people. You can have rich people, you can have poor people, are embarrassed to ask. And it's very important in our hospice that if someone needs, for example, some people can afford a funeral, some cannot. So when I ask them what's going on,
Yeah.
for example, I had a lady told me, "Rabbi, are you permitted to have cremation, the Jewish law?"
Yeah.
So I didn't. So I looked at her. I said, I didn't answer yes or no. I said, "Is there a question of money?" She started to cry. "We don't have money."
Yeah.
I said, "I'll see what I can do." And the reason why I'm bringing up those cases, because people don't listen. And you have to sometimes, as a rabbi, just listen and try to help facilitate, because you never know whom you can help.
Yeah, I would think, especially in these days of bad economy, people you never would have suspected
Right.
have problems now.
Right. And people come also on March 9th of this year, on August 9th, we are going to open our new inpatient unit, IPU, in Glenview, 2050 Clare Street, where we're building a new building for people at the last stages. They can be a week, a few days, a month, when someone is in real pain. So we give them special care that they should not be in pain and die with dignity.
And this is something brand new. And this is something you've been working for years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, but they're almost finished, and in August 9th, they're going to make the celebration where they're going to be a grand opening.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I'm sure your people will be bugging me to do stuff about it at that point in time.
That's up to you, No,
well, you know what? We're also going to see you guys at the Greater Jewish Festival this year on June 10th.
Right.
So yeah, you'll probably get to be on the air at least 3 times this year.
That's good. Three is a good number.
No, that's for sure.
Well,
go ahead.
And the reason, especially like in this economy, it doesn't matter which the religion are, if they're Jewish or not. Because sometimes I go to places and I see the suits and not only the dresses that people wear, you can see right away that they need help. And we accommodate people not only for medical, if they need clothing, whatever they need, we try to find out, I never thought I'll be an expert when I look at a person which size they wear.
Interesting. And by the way, the one time he actually tried to give me a suit, and by the way, it was only about 5 sizes too small.
Okay.
So I hope you've gotten better since
Oh yes,
then.
I've gotten a lot better. Listen, it takes time. But
and by the way, I sent it off to some needy people. But you know what? We're running out of time, so why don't you give us your contact information?
Yes, 847-467-7423 or www.carecenter,
Well, no, it's the Midwest Palliative Healthcare Center.
Right, it's
www.carecenter.org. Oh, so you got a good email address that way. I want to thank you very much, Rabbi Pinchas Eisenbach. Thank you for being with us. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. I want to thank all of you for joining us today on the Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, even though we don't maybe cover as much stuff in the neighborhood as we'd like to, because we have very uncooperative public officials. And actually, we cover a lot of things in neighborhoods close by, because other neighborhoods, be it Rogers Park or Skokie or whatever else, actually in many ways have better services than we have here, unfortunately. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hirsch. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Thank you again, Rabbi Eisenbach.
Thank you very much.
All the very best. Be well. Bye-bye.
Bye.